You're watching Council Wrap-Up, a look at some of the top news of the Montgomery County Council for the month of April. On April 16th, a grant program spearheaded by the County Council began taking applications from businesses that have been impacted by the COVID-19 crisis. Responding quickly to the needs of the local business community due to the COVID-19 crisis, the County Council approved the Public Health Economic Grant Initiative March 31st. The program is designed to provide economic relief for small businesses and nonprofits of 100 or fewer employees, including independent contractors and sole proprietors. Today, the application to receive that funding became available to those who qualify.
The council worked so hard, and of course there are 9 of us, but we worked very hard recognizing how quickly this pandemic is, having an impact, such a negative impact on our small businesses. It was not a complicated, proposal whatsoever. I mean, we literally just said, up to 100 employees. We said sole proprietors can apply. We said up to $75,000, and we did carve out $5 million for restaurants and front-facing retail, with the caveat that we would come back very quickly and add a little bit more to that carve-out. So in reality, the proposal that we adopted, that bill was pretty straightforward. Try to figure out how to best support our small businesses.
At this week's council session, Councilmember Navarro drafted a resolution sponsored by the entire council to add an additional $5 million to the program. That money is specifically targeted to restaurants and retail stores.
Specifically, the model is on people going there and being together, right? And so the fact that so early on, this directive came forward because we needed to do it. We need to do social distancing. We need to do shelter in place. It is clear that restaurants and front-facing retail has taken the brunt of this particular pandemic.
The funds will initially roll out in $10,000 increments, with a second wave of funding expected to be released within a couple of weeks. The county has set up a website outlining the requirements for the program. On the site, you will also find a listing of webinars and organizations listed to provide assistance with your application. Also this month, the council passed $2 million in funding for emergency rental assistance. The initiative was proposed by Councilmember Evan Glass.
I'm enacting an executive order that prohibits mortgage lenders from initiating the foreclosure process.
During this public health emergency, Maryland landlords are prohibited from evicting tenants.
So that it's one less heartache they have to worry about when making.
But Councilmember Evan Glass said he was still hearing from residents who had lost their jobs and were worried about paying the rent. This week, a $2 million special appropriation initiated by Councilmember Glass that would provide protection for those renters has been approved by the County Council.
What this $2 million program will do is expand rental assistance programs for people who are falling through the cracks, people who might not have codified leases, people who already are having a hard time paying their monthly rent, which is probably only compounded if they've lost their job or dealing with health ailments. And there are federal programs and state programs, namely uninsurance and the COVID financial assistance that will help a lot of people, but there are a number of people who aren't getting those assistance programs. And that is what this program is designed to support.
In Montgomery County, more than 40% of the residents are renters. The $2 million fund will cover emergency eviction protection and housing stabilization.
The last thing we want is people falling behind on their rent, because that will lead to more people experiencing homelessness and experiencing more economic pain. So the better we can help them at the front end, the better we'll be down the road.
The money will also be used for a short-term rental subsidy program as well as a multilingual hotline.
What we need to do is make sure that county government is able to supply and provide that information to the diverse residents we have. 4 of the 10 most diverse communities in the entire country are here in Montgomery County, and we need our government programs and services to reflect that diversity by providing information in as many languages as possible.
The newly approved funding will be administered through the county's Department of Health and Human Services. Next, a positive story about a young county resident who is using his award-winning skills to manufacture face shields in his basement. They say that a person's true character is revealed during a crisis.
I'm making around 20 or 30 per day.
And that holds true for 15-year-old Blair High School student Arjun Oberoi. This young man, who is part of the award-winning Wizards robotics team, is taking his skills and putting them to good use in the basement of his home, making face shields. Using his 3D printers, he began making the protective equipment for OpenWorks. Then, through fundraising, he was able to improve his design.
I started producing this design at my house, and I'm able to produce a lot more of these since it's a lot more efficient than what I was producing for OpenWorks. And also I'm able to distribute these locally, as OpenWorks was handling all of the distribution. Now I can control that these go to Montgomery County residents and not just throughout the state.
It's an exciting development to see, what we know is important, which is more and more training in STEM, actively engaged in this county's response in a direct way as part of the supply chain for the emergency team.
Arjun makes between 20 and 30 face shields a day. He showed us how the masks are assembled after they are manufactured.
I'll just take the one apart that I have. So it's 2 parts, and I just pop them in together. And that is a finished face shield right there. I've been distributing them to some people who I've reached out to. For example, I've distributed them so far to the Rockville Police, the Rockville Volunteer Fire Department, as well as Holy Cross Hospital. And I'm planning on distributing them to some nursing homes, as well as some more hospitals in Montgomery County. But my goal is to make all of what I produce staying in the county. I think it's great that I'm able to make a difference. I'm like one of the few people who does have the resources to be able to help, where most people don't. So I feel like I should be doing this. I feel good that I can do more than just social distancing, and I can actually actively help the people on the front lines.
Keeping the lines of communication open with all residents has been a top priority for the council members, including Council Vice President Tom Hucker, who recently held a virtual town hall meeting with students.
So yes, Tom, just give your introduction.
In order to reach out to community members across the board,
my name is Tom Hucker. I'm the Vice President of the Montgomery County Council.
Council Vice President Tom Hucker has been holding virtual town hall meetings on a variety of topics.
I think this town hall is a great way to capture the student voice across our county.
The most recent discussion involved Montgomery County students, where over 100 students from 16 of the county high schools participated.
It's always good to hear from students, especially when we're about to make any decisions that impact them in any way. But this is an especially apt time to hear from students because you all have so many powerful and creative and effective ideas.
The students talked about their experience with distance learning while schools have been closed and talked about what's working, what can be improved, and lessons that have been learned along the way with this new technology.
We've heard stories of some students struggling with their Chromebooks, that they have had problems signing in and problems with receiving them.
Chromebooks that they are receiving, there are some students who haven't ever had access to any computers or anything. So when you just give them a computer at home and sort of expect them to be able to navigate it on their own, it's really hard.
The meeting also included discussion on the school system's decision to move to a pass-fail system.
The idea about and the spirit behind Pass and Complete is not for the students who might find it hard to motivate themselves, but to help and support students who do not have the same academic support at home as they do at school.
I want to tell you, I'm inspired by all of you and your energy and your knowledge and the depth of your understanding of the challenges facing the county. I wish all the hundreds of thousands of taxpayers in the county, were on this tonight listening to you, because I think they would be as inspired as I am, and we'd have a whole different sort of political environment in which to make policy.
Council Vice President Hucker will continue to hold weekly town hall meetings on a variety of topics related to the COVID-19 pandemic every Monday night. For more information, you can visit his webpage. During the month of April, the county opened new drive-through testing sites to help speed up the testing process. Councilmember Will Jawando visited one site in White Oak.
We're here today at the White Oak Drive-Through Testing Center just to see how things are going on the second day that in existence. Also thank the workers. I think they've done about 35 tests already. We're here in the center of White Oak, which is a primarily African immigrant area. We know there are disparities. We're looking into that as a county. Our hope is that as more tests become available, sites like these can meet that need and help us to stem the spread of the virus. So I wanted to come here and thank folks and also see it in action. So here with Dr. Travis Gayles, our great county health officer. What do we do here? How does this operation work?
Well, the first step is to contact, if you have a primary care provider, seek medical advice and guidance in terms of whether or not you meet the criteria and you're concerning for needing a COVID test. A provider in an urgent care type facility, or even if you don't have access to those, we do have a network of safety net clinics throughout the county in our Montgomery Cares network where folks can seek care. And after talking to the medical provider can go into the CRISP system, order the test there, and then the client or the resident would get an email link to then be able to go in and schedule their appointment to utilize the facility.
It looks like a good operation, and we're committed on the council, as you know, to try to expand the capacity as much as possible. So we're actively working with Dr. Gayles to look at how can we acquire more tests. How many were done Tuesday here?
Tuesday, I think we started with around 30. It was the first day. Our goal is to have a minimum of 100 each day, so that requires having more staff. And so as time has moved forward, we're training more staff to be able to provide those services so that we can have increased appointments and meet the needs and be able to provide those services.
And we leave you with a message from our council members to everyone in the community who is going the extra mile. I'm Susan Kennedy. Thanks for watching.
During uncertain times, it's important for our residents here in Montgomery County to know that we will continue to provide essential services. I am proud of the dedication of all of our employees who give their best day in and day out. We are here to serve you and to help ensure your safety during this crisis. We are responding to this challenge with strength and resolve.
To our first responders and public safety workers who are there to answer the call day and night, thank you.
To our County Health and Human Services employees and all healthcare workers on the front lines who continue to report for duty, thank you.
To our local essential businesses who are stepping up to keep their doors open or changing their operations overnight to be part of this response effort, thank you.
To our nonprofit partners who are keeping our social safety net strong and secure by providing food and housing to some of the most vulnerable residents in our community, I say thank you.
To the teachers who are working with our children so that they can continue to learn, thank you.
To our partners in the multicultural community who are working hard to make sure all of our residents have the same access to information and assistance during this crisis, thank you. A todos nuestros aliados en las comunidades multiculturales que están trabajando para asegurarse que todos nuestros residentes tengan acceso a información y asistencia durante esta crisis, muchísimas gracias.
To the food service workers in our schools and our community partners who are ensuring every child has access to a healthy meal, thank you.
To our transportation employees and everyone working in a grocery store, a restaurant, a pharmacy, thank you for what you're doing. You are keeping us going. Thank you.
With all of us working together, we will get through this. To each and every one of you for what you are doing to protect our community, thank you.